guys, welcome back to another video. I'm just doing that intro just in case I upload this. This is kind of a test video. I want to see if I can do more talking videos like this because I want to talk about my top 10 favorite bands. I made a video called My Top 10 Favorite Bands in April of 2017. Within a couple weeks of uploading my video a year ago, I started disagreeing with it and I started really regretting not calling it my current top 10 favorite bands. I find that I'm very wishy-washy when it comes to big absolute videos like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about 10 bands that I've really loved lately. So with that, I would like to get into this list. And so first I want to talk about a couple honorable mentions, I guess. Bands that I've been listening to a lot, but not quite enough to put them on the list, or sometimes I just don't even know about them enough to put them on the list and really, fairly call them a favorite of mine. One of those bands that I don't know enough about, and that's why they didn't make it, is Trivium. I really love Trivium, but I have been putting off checking out their whole discography. They're phenomenal. I love The Cinema Sentence. It's still my favorite album of 2017. Matt Heafy's scream technique is so good, especially nowadays. Alex, their new drummer, is like becoming one of my favorite drummers of all time. He's like a literal metronome. I'm subscribed to him on YouTube and he uploads live performances of Trivium songs sometimes, and I've just been blown away watching those. I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me, this guy's insane. And so I really just love this band. They have a lot of influences, you can obviously tell. They wear their Metallica influence on their sleeves, but nowadays they've gotten so much better at being more unique, in their sound. They've really developed a good sound and evolved throughout the years. I really like that about them, so I'm really thrilled to check out more of them, and maybe they'll be on the list next time. But another band would be Muse. This is a band that I have heard their entire discography except for The Resistance. I really love Muse's older stuff. Drones is solid enough. Second Law was a little better than Drones, I think. I think they've been getting a little worse over time, I'll be perfectly honest. Absolution is one of my favorite albums of all time. Matt Bellamy has an incredible voice, and he's a huge vocal inspiration to me too. I love the classical influences Muse has. Their bass player is incredible. I love how the bass kind of functions as a guitar in a lot of Muse songs, and that just makes me love them even more. The reason they weren't on the list is because I haven't been constantly seeking them out, especially their new stuff. I just don't listen to enough. And another band that was kind of lower, not really on the list, was Iron Maiden. I love Iron Maiden's material from the 80s. I still replay it all the time. The issue is kind of a similar issue with Trivium. I just have not checked out enough by them. They have so many albums and they just intimidate me so much because of that, and I'm so intimidated to even check out their stuff before Bruce. And in that middle age where Blaze was on vocals, I'm nervous to check that out too. And it's like, I just don't know what to do about Iron Maiden anymore. It's like, I really love what I love by them. Yeah, Steve Harris is one of my favorite bass players of all time, and it's kind of funny, I'm really glad I found another bass player in metal who doesn't use a pick, because it's so common to see a bass player, especially in metal, just use a pick the whole time. And I understand why it gets that more gritty kind of sound, but I hate playing with a pick. Steve does not play with a pick. I've never seen him play with a pick. He refuses to, just like me. And it's like, hey, if he can do it, I can do it, he inspires me so much. Bruce is one of my favorite singers ever. Yeah, I just need to check out more Iron Maiden. I just don't know where to start because I only know like freaking 4 of their albums and they have like 16. Next band is Icon for Hire. This should be on the list, but the reason it isn't is because honestly I think I kind of got burned out on Icon lately. Their first 2 albums are phenomenal, some of my favorite albums ever, and then You Can't Kill Us was so different. It kind of changes every month. Like sometimes I'll go a couple weeks without listening to Icon, then I'll come back to them and they'll be like in my top 3 again. Oh, another band I want to mention is Carnival. They only have 3 albums, and their latest, it sounds so weird for me to say as a prog fan to be like, oh, it's too prog. That mellow kind of prog that they went for is just a little jarring. Now, I do have to spend more time with that album. Sound Awake and Themata are incredible. I love Themata to death. I love Sound Awake too, but there is kind of some lyrical themes that me having the beliefs I do, it makes it weird for me to listen to some of Sound Awake, especially like Set Fire to the Hive. Ian Kenny is still one of my favorite singers ever. I think he's amazing. I love his crystal clear voice. He's got a gorgeous voice, amazing range. and their drummer, I completely forgot his name and I freaking hate myself for it. He's amazing. Literally every single member of the band is amazing. At number 9 would be Paramore. When After Laughter dropped, I didn't like it for several months and then it grew on me. Hayley Williams' vocals are so incredible. She is probably one of the best trained vocalists that I listen to personally. She's got just this incredible range, this incredible kind of tone to her voice. She can sing in literally any genre and make it work. She's literally sang with EDM producers, and she sang with Deftones. And then of course Paramore, with them doing a million different styles. It's like she can sing anything, I swear. I think Taylor adds a lot to the band. I feel like ever since Taylor joined the band they got better. Like once he became a full member during Brand New Eyes. Brand New Eyes is my favorite album by them. I can't even express how much I love the lineup they have. It's like my favorite lineup they've ever had. I swear. I hope no one else leaves Paramore. At number 8 would be Starset. Starset is another band that I don't get sick of. I've known about Starset for a few years now. I think about a little over 3 years, I'd say, because I think I got into them like early 2015 or something, and I was just like, man, this band's so underrated. I like how they're kind of electronic, even though like that wasn't my thing back then. It did kind of make me more open-minded, you know, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I hope they make it big. And then like they're so huge now. Dustin Bates has improved so much as a vocalist. I feel like the band overall has just found such a unique identity for themselves. They don't try to copy people. Like, they take elements from Breaking Benjamin and Red and other bands, but they are themselves, and I'm so glad that a modern rock band like this can craft their own identity so much. They can have such compelling electronics that swell a lot with the guitars, and like they can just make such a name for themselves in this society. The next pick, which is number 7, is Evanescence. Growing up, Evanescence kind of defined those years because they were like the first band I got into, you could say. Fallen came out when I was extremely young. I was too young to remember. The Open Door is probably my favorite album by them. I just love how dark it is. And Amy Lee has inspired me more than anyone ever. I love the tone to her voice. I love how she can sound so angelic while she's singing such gothic hard rock. And I think all 3 of their actual like studio albums, you know, I'm not counting Synthesis, have all been very great. I mean, I can't think of really a single weak song they've released besides, I guess, Lose Control, which is not that bad of a song. Some of the remade songs on Synthesis I don't really come back to, I'll be honest, but I'm hyped for what Evanescence has next when it comes to actual new material. You know, oh man, I'm so glad they're back after their hiatus. They will never fall out of my list. They may fluctuate a little bit, but man, it's just, this band means so much to me. We get into the number 6 pick, which is Nothing More. I saw Nothing More live the day after I saw Starset live. Nothing More is the best live band I've ever seen, hands down. Johnny Hawkins, the vocalist of this band, he's like one of my favorite singers ever. He's got one of the best voices I've literally ever heard in rock music. There's a lot of amazing drum work on their latest album because they just got a new drummer, Ben, and he's amazing, and I hope he never leaves the band because he's great for this band. Their lyrics are pretty good. They have a lot of energy to them. They're just such an energetic band. At number 5 is actually a band that I think a lot of people will be surprised to see on here. That is the band Death. There's an explanation for why Death is on the list. And that is honestly because I have fallen head over heels in love with this band's whole discography, really. I guess minus their first couple albums, but I still like them. I still come back to them. They're a lot of fun. But man, their later stuff is just really amazing. They're such an influential band to so many people. Chuck Schuldiner is becoming one of my favorite musicians very quickly, and I think his vocals were amazing. Honestly, I love how he kind of changed his vocal technique over the years. I think I actually like all of his techniques. The kind of high-pitched shriek he had on their last album, and then you go back to Scream Bloody Gore and it's like more medium-pitched, kind of growly, like, and kind of the in-between mark during like Individual Thought Patterns, which is my favorite album by them. This band's lyrics are off the charts amazing, by the way. I really like how not all their songs are about like hating people and killing and blood and organs failing. I'm talking to you, Cannibal Corpse. Their bass work over the years is pretty phenomenal too. Some of my favorite bass lines in metal actually come from a lot of Death songs. I just am so entertained whenever I listen to them. There's so much going on constantly. I need to get into more of this kind of genre because I'm really a big fan of the sound. But if you have any bands that are anywhere on par with Death, recommend them please, because I need more. And then at number 4 is Tool. No one saw this coming, right? With the multiple Tool videos I've been doing. Yeah, ever since the new A Perfect Circle album came out, I have been binging Tool. I listened to their whole discography several times. I really love everything about them. I love their instrument work. They're another prog band, but they're prog in a different way. You know, I can't think of a single band that just sounds like Tool. There's a lot of people who have ripped them off over the years, but it's like even Tool's influences, they don't wear on their sleeve. You know, Tool is another one of those bands that have just crafted such an identity for themselves. Maynard James Keenan always was an eclectic kind of guy, very eccentric. I actually kind of like the weird, zany kind of, you know, personality he brings into Tool songs and Tool lyrics. Bass lines are amazing. Justin Chancellor is probably my favorite bass player, and I love the way he constructs his bass lines. I love playing them. They're my favorite bass lines ever to play. Adam Jones with his guitar work, and even the visuals he incorporates for the band. It's like, they all have this very specific aura that they give off, this atmosphere, and I love to just get lost in it. I love everything about this band. Danny Carey is amazing, and there is no weak link in this band at all. All their albums are pretty good. I also think this is another band, just like Death, that have evolved and gotten better as they went on, gotten more sophisticated and just more like entertaining, you know. At number 3 is Breaking Benjamin. The reason Breaking Benjamin ranks so high is because they're a band that just knows how to do exactly what they do so well. I've never really went through a phase where I was like, oh, I'm burned out on Breaking Benjamin. Like, I'm pretty sure that's never happened to me. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's like their music is just refined at this point. They know exactly what they're doing, and they just do it amazingly. Their melodies are really nicely constructed, and Ben Burnley has a very good voice. He's got a lot of variety in his voice. Even though this band came back with a whole new lineup in 2015 after a huge legal battle that Ben Burnley actually won, they still kept their exact same sound. I really love how this band has changed over the years, because they have changed. A lot of people won't acknowledge this, but they did sound quite different on their first 2 albums compared to how they sound now. And they used to sound so raw back then. I love those old days of Breaking Benjamin. And I love how Phobia kind of changed things up for them. I think Phobia was incredible, one of my favorite albums of all time. I really love the way they construct their riffs and their guitars, and how the guitars work around each other, how the rhythm guitar plays a big role and kind of like really cool riffs up and down the fretboard. And number 2 is Slipknot. Slipknot can never fall out of my top 3. Slipknot is a band that really just got me into metal music in general. I think Corey Taylor has one of the most versatile voices in rock and metal. I don't think they were really trying to get all the success they got. People were attracted to the masks and the visuals too. And I love the aesthetic that they have. I'm going to be perfectly honest, I love that. But to be honest, for a few months, I consider Slipknot a favorite band of mine, just because I had listened to a lot of their albums just kind of on my own time. But I had done no research on them. I didn't even know they wore masks for a while. So for me, they were not a gimmick. The 9 members thing, the samples they incorporate. I love Slipknot's progression over the years too. Their first 2 albums were so visceral and very heavy. And with their 3rd album, they really just had more variety. They do ballads so well. They do have variety in their sound. That's the main reason why I really love them. And it's just like, they're just my first kind of metal band I really heavily got into. They're really high on the list. At number 1 is Red, and Red will probably stay at number 1. This band just combines a lot of things that I've mentioned about the other bands. Them being very symphonic, you know. Red is another band that made me want to play violin, really, and probably the main reason I picked up violin was just because of Red. The way they incorporate it in their music is so genius. The way they layer their music, their production has always been amazing, and I feel like people don't talk about that enough. I'm not talking about Release the Panic. We forget Release the Panic exists, okay? All their other albums were produced by Rob Graves, and he's a great producer. He produces for Starset. I just love that sound, that polished hard rock sound they have. Michael Barnes is one of my favorite singers. He has a lot of variety in his voice. He has this very emotional kind of tenor range. He can incorporate a lot of rasp in there. He can be perfectly clear when he wants to, and he has one of the best screams I've ever heard in rock music. He could be a metal vocalist if he tried, I feel like. And in a couple songs, they do cross over into metal. They just have songs that fit a specific role. Let It Burn, you know, mid-tempo kind of rocker. Feed the Machine, metal-leaning, heavier song. Pieces, very emotional piano ballad. It's like, I find great things in all the types of songs they do. And so that's why they rank at number 1. They really have just mastered kind of everything, more than any other band I can really think of, and it's just, their emotional appeal is just out of this world, off the charts. They're also phenomenal live too. Mike just has this crazy vocal stamina live. I love how they construct their lyrics too. They're pretty vague, pretty, you know, I guess angsty, but I think they've gotten better over time with lyrics. Oh, Beauty and Rage had some really good lyrics. They're not afraid to delve into darker topics, despite people being like, oh, they're supposed to be Christian, and yet they're talking about blah blah blah, and it's like, they're not afraid of that. I love that. I love how they're just not afraid to push the boundaries. This is the end of the weird video. There's probably about 40 minutes of filming, I'm gonna guess. But yeah, this is May 5th, 2018, me talking about a bunch of bands I like and going way into detail, repeating myself, and just kind of being an idiot. I hope you guys enjoyed. But yeah, that's my top 10 for now. Could easily change. That's the end of the video, so I guess, thanks for watching.